Hey, what is going on, guys? It is Young here, and today I'm back in our Fortnite video. In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to get really good here in Season 9. I'm really going to be breaking down this gameplay and showing you guys exactly what I was able to do to win and also to drop 16 kills and just play really well. And before we get into the video, if you guys could drop a like in this video, it really does help me out. So smash that like button, and as well, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And lastly, make sure you guys turn on my post notifications so you guys can get notified for each and every new video. And alright guys, let's get right to the video. Alright, so for the gameplay in the background, I did drop 16 kills, and I do believe in the early game I think I ended up dropping 6. I've been popping off a ton going to the towers and Mega Mall. Those are my two land locations I've been landing at the most, popping off for a lot of kills and getting a lot of good gameplays from there. So really quick, the first thing that I'd want to talk about is something that I mentioned in previous videos, and that's kind of the meta here in Fortnite. They did make a few changes, as you know, they added in a new SMG into the game that has a little bit more, and it's really good at medium ranges. And that's just where I think it shines the best. If you're really close to another person, you might as well use a drum gun or SMG, preferably the drum gun. And from those longer ranges, you might as well use an AR. But at the medium ranges, I think that gun shines the best, has first shot accuracy, and as well, it does a lot of damage. And really, the drop off isn't too bad with it, so it's a very good gun from the mid range. And that's what I'd recommend using in those kind of ranges. But the majority of gunfights you're going into, or the majority of gunfights you're going to win, are more than likely going to be in the medium to close or to close ranges kind of fights, because that's going to be able to deal the most amount of damage. Those long range fights, if someone has more than 150 HP, it's going to be nearly impossible just to rip off all their health, just because they can build and different things like that. So those close ranges are where you're going to be doing the most damage, and that's where you want to focus on if you want to get really good in Fortnite, just being very good at close ranges. And there's a lot of things to cover when it comes to close ranges. You can talk about shotgun aim, SMG aim, drum gun. But pretty much there I was only mentioning gun skill. There's a lot of other different things, like, you know, how to play better and just different things like that when it comes to the short ranges. But the main thing that I want to be talking about in this video is learning how to play in different playstyles, because I really feel like in Fortnite they keep changing up the meta, they keep changing up a lot of different things, and the same thing isn't going to be working from every season, or even halfway through a season. You could be really good at one thing at the beginning of season 8, but halfway through season 8 they make some big changes like they have, and even in previous seasons they've done the exact same thing. They've added new weapons, nerfs, different things like that, so it constantly changes the meta, which means you have to be constantly changing up your playstyle. So if you want to get really good at Fortnite, you're going to have to master changing up your playstyle from time to time, and just learning how to play with different playstyles, so if they do change something up, it's not going to affect you too bad. You kind of just have to keep mental note that you have to keep changing up your playstyle and play exactly how the meta is. And I think right now, like I said, it's kind of the medium close to close ranges kind of fight. And also when it comes to playstyle, just knowing how to play when you're in different HPs, different gun situations and like that are going to be very crucial to understanding and also being very good in Fortnite, and just being able to consistently get wins on fights and just be able to win a lot more. And even though in a lot of my gameplays I'm constantly going for high kills, it doesn't always mean that I'm going to be challenging every single fight. And as you can see right here, I did get challenged from above, and that's one thing you guys have to realize is even though I'm playing for a lot of kills, sometimes I have to play really slow. Like right here, I didn't have the most amount of HP. So right here, what I was basically doing is I was just waiting for my teammate to come over. I wasn't trying to go for any challenges, just because the guns in this game aren't strong enough, and even if the pump was still in the game, I would still have to go for an edit play on the player and still be able to hit a headshot in order to win that fight. So it has been really smart just to box in, play slow, and even though I lost like 2 kills because the players were fighting in front of me, it doesn't matter, because otherwise, more than likely, I would say 7 or 8 out of 10 times I probably would have went down and not won that fight, especially now because the shotguns don't do a lot of damage. You're not going to be winning those fights consistently. So really at that point, your best interest is just not to go for the challenge at all. Just play really slow. If you're playing in duos or squads, wait for your teammates to come. And say you're playing in duos and squads, you get into the same situation, but you're going against 2 or 3 players that are just spamming at your box. The best thing you can do is just hold them off for a few seconds, because if you try to make a play right away, you're just going to spray right through your builds and you're not going to be able to do anything, and you're going to die pretty quickly. But really the best thing that you can do in that situation is just wait for them to spray their guns for a few seconds, or even not even a few seconds. I'd wait for them to empty their clip, because as soon as they empty their clip, they're going to be going for reloads, which is going to buy you enough time to make a play. But if you want to avoid that completely and not even give them a chance to make a play on you, you kind of have to realize the situation beforehand so you can get out of there, because the second they start spraying at you from different angles, that's probably not the best time to go for any sort of move. because you're going to get sprayed out and you're going to get tagged through your walls and your build, so you're not going to be able to do too much. So really your best option, like I said, hold them off for a little bit, and if you realize the situation beforehand, you might be able to move and get out of that box, because you don't want to be in a 1-by-1 if you have multiple people from multiple different angles. If it's only one player, then it's fine, you can just hold the wall and there's not going to be anything they can do, unless they're on like -3 ping and they're going to get the wall replaced every single time. And I think there's a new exploit going around where they can get the wall every time. I'm not sure exactly how to do it, but there's a ton of videos on it. I saw it on Twitter, and I haven't even really tried it out, but supposedly you're able just to get the wall every single time on any player. I'm not really sure exactly how it works, and also I'm not sure if they patched it yet or not, but I saw a ton of videos everywhere on YouTube, on Twitter, and even Instagram, so there's really videos everywhere on this exploit. So if you guys want to know how to do it, if it's not patched yet, you could probably find it really easily. Wouldn't be too hard, just look up how to get the wall replaced every single time. But like I said, I haven't tried it out, and it's probably not patched yet. They're probably waiting for another update to do it. But like I was saying earlier, if you're getting sprayed in the box, you either want to get out of it initially if you know it's happening, or you have to wait for them to empty their clip so you can make a move. Otherwise, there's absolutely no chance of doing anything. You're just going to get sprayed too hard and you're going to get tagged through your build, and it's really just a bad situation. You're kind of just relying on them missing their shots, which more than likely, if they're spraying about a 50 round mag and there's 2 or 3 of them, most of the time they're going to be hitting at least a few shots and ripping off all your HP. And when it comes to me, I'm not the most lucky person ever. I'm going to be getting hit in the head like 2 or 3 times, so by that time I have 0 HP. It's just not the best situation to be in. And that's exactly what just happened in that last fight. Me and my teammate just ripped through this guy with the drum gun. It really wasn't that bad of a play with him trying to get out of that situation, but he kind of had to move around a little bit. He was kind of just dropping down. Me and my teammate both had the drum gun. We were just spraying at him as hard as we could, and we were able to get a ton of tags right through his build, and there was nothing he can do, and we were able to get an easy kill on the player. So what he probably should have done is he still should have branched out a little bit, still went down, but he should have branched out to his left or right, trying to make himself a little bit harder to hit. Because if he's just going in one direction and he's trying to move around, we're just going to be spraying through his builds, getting tags on him left and right, and that's exactly what we did. And also another really good tip that I use a ton of times, if I'm spraying at a guy like I'm doing right here, of course in this fight I'm just trolling around, not really trying that hard, kind of just spraying at this guy and just trying to rip off his shield, rip off his HP, and spray through his build with my gun. But one thing that you guys can do if you ever want to go for high ground and you have a gun like a drum gun or anything that does a lot of structure damage, all you can do is just spray at their builds. And once you're spraying at their builds, if they're just standing still, which most people do, they're just going to be sitting there holding turbo build, and you can take that opportunity, because if you're constantly spraying at them, they don't know exactly when you're going to stop. So keep spraying at them, they're going to be standing still, and that's going to allow you to give you like an extra second or 2 just to go for high ground. So if you're trying to go for high ground and the player's in a box, or you're spraying at the player, the best thing you can do is just constantly spam his wall, get as close as you can, and once you get close to the other player or close enough, then you can use that opportunity to go for high ground, because they're going to think you're going to keep spraying at their builds. So if you go for high ground, they're not going to be able to counter it right away, and it's almost going to guarantee you high ground every single time. And if you get high ground with a SCAR, drum gun, and a heavy sniper, at that point it's pretty much a GG. The other player can do just about nothing in that situation. They're probably going to die about every single time. So even though spamming is kind of one of those really annoying things that a lot of players without any skill like to do a ton, it can be used in a tactical way to go for high ground and just play really smart with it. So there's definitely a lot of things you can do just from just constantly holding down the spray. And also another thing that I do from time to time, or usually when I want to go for wall replace, I'm not going to be standing still. If I want to go for a wall replace on another player that's holding the wall, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to be standing still outside of his box spraying. I'm going to be jumping around and spraying. And really just the main reason being, and this works with any weapon, if you're jumping around and constantly moving, it's going to be a lot harder for the other players that are going to be shooting at you for them to hit your shots, because you're going to be constantly moving around, which is going to make it that much more difficult for them to hit their shots. So if they're trying to line up a shot on you and you're going for a wall replace, which a lot of players do, if you're constantly just shooting at their wall trying to go for a wall replace, a lot of times they're going to be trying to go off for a shot or 2. So if you're constantly jumping around, it's going to make it that much harder for them to hit their shots. And even if they hit their shots, a lot of times they're not going to be hitting for max damage. They're going to be hitting for like 40, 50 damage at most. And if you're standing still, it's going to be very easy for them to line up their headshot. So it's going to be easier for them to shoot you. And as well, most of the time they're going to be hitting headshots. So if you're going for wall replace and want to get in someone's box, if you're constantly jumping, constantly moving around when you're trying to go for a spam on their wall, it's going to be very beneficial to do so, because the other player is going to have a hard time hitting you. And with that being said, that's all for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys liked it. And if you guys could, drop a like on this video. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. turn on my notifications to be notified for every single new video. And alright guys, I'll see you next video.